My name is Nenebi Tony, and this is Juice and Nut, an African music review podcast. So, what I do here is I use albums by various African artists as a vehicle to talk about African culture, African creativity, African ingenuity, but the focus is still the music. So this is carved as a music review podcast, and I enjoy doing this. Last week I reviewed a 2020 album or EP by Thames called um For Broken Ears. And I ended that review by saying, this week I'm going to review whichever album wins Album of the Year at this year's Ghana Music Awards, Telesol Ghana Music Award. So when I lived in Ghana, Vodafone used to sponsor the Ghana Music Awards. So it was Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. So whenever I'm saying Ghana Music Awards in my head, I have to remember that it's no more VGMAs, Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. It's TGMAs, Telesol Ghana Music Awards. Because the company Vodafone was acquired by Telecel, a different telecom company. But that is not about the music. Now let's focus on reviewing the music. So the album we are reviewing this week is King Promise's True to Self album. This album came out in June 2024. It was a groundbreaking album that sent King Promise from just a national superstar in Ghana to a global icon in the making. He is one of the first Afrobeat artists or African artists to have a tour in Asia, which is something I'll be talking about in my other podcast, Do or Die, this week, right? So I want to focus on this album for now. So because I'm reviewing this album because it was an award-winning album, I'm going to talk a little bit about the award show, the Telesol Ghana Music Awards that happened last Saturday. What was the date? May 10th, I guess. Yeah, May 10th, 2025. That's when the Vodafone. I know I'm going to make this mistake a few times today. Bear with me. That's when the Telesol Ghana Music Awards happened. And so, two things I want to say about this show. This may be controversial because everybody loved his performance. But I think Stonebowy's performance at the Telesol Ghana Music Awards last Saturday is a tale of the things that I consider to be a problem with the Ghana music industry and the Ghana Music Awards specifically. Here's why. The Ghana Music Awards over the years, for the 25 years or 26 years that he has been in the existence, have had the same problem. And the problem is lack of respect of time. Time has been one of the things that have plagued this award show for years. We are going into the third decade. Actually, we are in the third decade of the award show, and the award show still haven't figured out how to deal with the issue of time. And here's a simple solution on how to deal with the issue of time. The Vodafone Ghana Music Awards have issue with timing because the artists show up late to these award shows. They show up late for the red carpet. So a red carpet which is scheduled to start at 10 p.m. end up starting at scheduled to start at 8 p.m. That's usually when it's scheduled to start. A red carpet that is scheduled to start at 8 p.m. end up getting started at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m., which drives the award show to go on till 4 a.m. sometimes. I have attended Ghana Music Awards a few times. There have been times I've walked out of the venue at 4:30 a.m. When can I leave the award show and go to after party if I didn't? Anyway. So, why do I say Stonebowy's performance highlights this issue? I checked. Every single person who performed at this year's TGMA performed between 4 minutes and 10 minutes. Everybody time was between 4 minutes and 10 minutes. Joe Metal, Daughters of Glorious Jesus, King Promise, Aisi, Familia, my boy Smoke, Kweku Smoke. All of them performed less than 10 minutes or a few seconds over 10 minutes. Stonebwoy's performance was between 14 minutes and 15 minutes. It was actually just a few seconds over 14 minutes. And that is a problem. What that tells me is either Stonebwoy went over the set limit of time, which is 10 minutes, or the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards organizers gave Stonebwoy the free range to go as long as he wants. Both of which are wrong. The award show organizers need to get hold and control of the award show and the timing around the award show. They've done that before in the past. Let me tell you this. The first time VIP won the Artist of the Year at the Vodafone Music Awards, that may be somewhere in 2003 or 2004. They did not perform at the award show. Uncle Nab, happy belated birthday to him, was the show director for that year. I think he was the stage director. I don't remember what his official title is, but he was in charge of the running order of the show. And he created a running order, and VIP wanted to tweak with the running order because I think VIP wanted to go last because they wanted to perform after they won the award. Something, I don't remember exactly what the issue was, but Uncle Nab refused to allow VIP to tweak with his show running order, and so VIP ended up not performing that year. So VIP didn't perform that year. They won Artist of the Year and went on to have a successful career. It didn't affect their career in any way. It didn't affect the Ghana Music Awards in any way, right? If you are a show organizer, you need to have control over your show. Artists should not be dictating for organizers when the show will start. Here's the thing. Artists are not going to show up to pick the awards anyway. Kweku Smoke was in the audience. He didn't pick up his awards. Black Sheriff, I think he won an award, but he's out of the country, so he didn't pick up his awards. It's not every artist who wins an award that's going to show up. So wanting to wait for artists to be in the audience before you start the show is hustling backwards. If for a year or two, you enforce the time and start the award at the time you say you're going to start the award, the artist will be forced to respond. Human beings respond to incentives. If you are lackadaisical or lukewarm with time, like we all are in Ghana, I don't live in Ghana anymore, so I'm not lukewarm with time anymore. But after never being lukewarm with time, I'll say this. The reason why I know every artist performed under 10 minutes is because I pay attention to stuff like that. I'm no OCD, but I like rules. Rules, if there are no guided rules for me to follow, I go overboard, right? So I like rules. So the way you train people to obey rules is to punish people for not obeying rules. If the organizers allowed Stonebwoy to perform for 14 minutes when everybody else was performing less than 10 minutes, that is a big a big stain on the part of the organizers. But if Stonebwoy went over his allocated time, the organizers had the power to cut off his mic in the middle of his performance. Because you tell somebody perform for 10 minutes and they perform for 14 minutes, at 10 minutes 30 seconds, if you are performing at the Grammy, or if you won an award at the Grammy and you have 60 seconds to give your speech, and you go over the 60 seconds and start playing music, right? The only person I've seen go over the time at the Grammys ever is my boy Kanye West. And even with Kanye West, he acknowledged it. Because when they started playing the music, he said, if you watch the performance, the Kanye West receiving the award that year, he said, you need to stop playing the music because I'm not going to stop talking. And he kept playing the music, and he kept telling them to stop playing the music, which means he acknowledged that he was doing the wrong thing. And that is entertainment, that is rockstar. Kanye West is a rock star, so he does that. And he was punished for it because the music was playing louder and louder while he spoke. Right? So the audience at home and everybody in the audience know that Kanye West is the reason the show maybe went on for more than 30 seconds because he spoke for more. So if somebody is at fault, you, the organizers, don't have to stomach it. These award winners are celebrities. They are adults. They are businessmen. Anybody who does music commercially is a businessman. And so they have to be treated like adults. Stop babying artists. That is the problem with the entertainment industry in Ghana. But, I didn't want this review to go more than, what's the word, 30 seconds. I didn't want this review to go for more than 25 minutes. But I've already spoken for 10 minutes, which means that I need to hurry through the review of King Promise's album. And to review King Promise's album, I need to start with his performance at the VGMAs. One of King Promise's biggest songs this year is the song Favorite Story, featuring Sarkodie, and I don't remember the other person featured on the song. But that song heavily sampled Kwabena Kwabena's Aso. So it was only right that on the biggest night of King Promise's career, the person he sampled will show up and perform the song with him. That is universally acceptable. But I have a problem with King Promise and Kwabena Kwabena's performance. It looked like they did not rehearse that performance. Kwabena Kwabena showed up and was dazzling with vocals at the performance, right? King Promise sounded like a rapper. King Promise is a singer. But standing next to Kwabena Kwabena, he looked, sounded, and felt like a rapper. It looked like there was no cohesion between King Promise and Kwabena Kwabena. Because Kwabena Kwabena was there to dazzle vocals and King Promise was there to do favorite story. Bro, you are the artist of the year. I'm not saying King Promise is supposed to. I don't think King Promise have the vocal range that Kwabena Kwabena has. But at least you should have duetted like some 30 seconds with Kwabena Kwabena, right? So even if your vocal is not at par with Kwabena Kwabena, let it feel cohesion. Let us feel the cohesion. Kwabena Kwabena and King Promise on stage has zero chemistry, which I can only think is because they did not perform, did not rehearse that performance. And that is a big minus on the part of King Promise because it was his performance and he brought out Kwabena Kwabena. And Kwabena Kwabena also dressed better for his performance. Which brings me to this thing I've been thinking about for a very long time. Sometimes when people say things used to be better back in the day and things are not good now, it looks like we are being nostalgic about old times, right? But when you look at the performances at the VGMA of the old artists versus new artists, you realize that we are really losing recipes. You could tell exactly who Kwabena Kwabena is and what he was there to do with just his outfit. King Promise have been known for not having the best style at the VGMAs. So standing next to Kwabena Kwabena, he looked like the backup singer. And I'm not sorry for saying that. High life artists, and in some cases, hip life artists who were big in Ghana some 15 years ago, took their craft serious. I think the new crop of Afrobeat artists in Ghana are not taking the craft serious. They are not taking anything about the craft serious. They're not taking their style serious. They're not taking their rehearsal serious, which means they're not taking their performances serious. They're not taking their vocals serious. They're not taking their lyrics serious. And it's a whole bunch of joke. And we've been doing this for a very long time, bro. It is time we sit up and get better. We are artists. We are businessmen. We are trying to tell the world to pay money to watch us. Every single year, Ghana spends money to tell the world to come to Ghana and party. If you're going to tell the world to come to the world and to come to Ghana and party and watch your performances, you put on the best performances, because the Ghana Music Awards is one of the most watched TV shows in the history of Ghana. It's actually watched more than any show in Ghana, period. Not just in Ghana, across the world. Because it's on DSTV, it's on cable around Africa, and it's watched around the world on the internet. Ghana Music Awards is watched more than anything in Ghana. So it needs to be the best visual and artistic representation of our country, and it's not. I didn't plan to go into VGMA for this long, but once I started speaking, I realized that, you know what, we need to keep going. I need to, yeah. So, even when I'm saying about lyricism, when I say Afrobeat artists don't care about lyricism, I'm saying this as a critique of King Promise album, True to Self. Here's what I mean. King Promise should have worked with writers for his album. A lot of the lyrics on the album felt like he went to the studio, they played the beat, it's like, I like this vibe, make a vibe with them. And then wrote his lyrics within 15 minutes and then put it out. You are not Jay-Z. You cannot write a song within 15 minutes. You are not Elton John. You cannot write a song within 15 minutes. Artists need to sit with the beats. Stop. I know all of us, myself included, have been influenced by Jay-Z and Lil Wayne saying they don't write their lyrics. Jay-Z and Lil Wayne don't write their lyrics because they developed and built that skill to be able to do that. Jay-Z wrote with pen a lot of his first album. Right? And even with Jay-Z, if you've seen documentaries, go watch the Fade to Black documentary. When the beat is playing, you see him mumbling to himself. So even though he's not writing the lyrics on paper, he's taking time to craft the lyrics in his head. So Afrobeat artists need to take the idea that you don't write your lyrics. You know, when Burna Boy said he didn't write yeah, 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 he was just in the club and then went to the studio and said yeah, yeah, yeah. The reason why yeah, yeah, yeah is a big deal that Burna Boy didn't write, it is because the other songs Burna Boy puts out, he writes them. So he's able to do yeah, yeah, yeah as a freestyle because he writes, right? When I started recording stuff, I used to write. I don't write as much anymore, but to be able to develop the skill of creating music, you need to start with putting words on paper. And not everybody have the skill to put words on paper. So someone like him Promise, he's a singer, he needs to work with a writer. Elton John has a long-standing writer he's been writing with for the past 60 years. You need that. If there's no shame as an artist to collaborate with other artists who have skills better at one thing than you. Afrobeat artists need to start writing or hiring writers to co-write with them. I like Davido's music. Davido's first album, trash in terms of the writing, because Davido wrote the first album himself. From his second album onwards, Davido started collaborating with other writers. And a lot of Davido's lyrics is still trash, because a lot of them, he still writes some of them himself. But his lyricism has improved. Right? So, the reason why I'm bringing this up is to say this. Fave was featured on a song on King Promise album. I think the song is it's not Paranoid. What's the title of the song that Fade was featured on? I'm trying to remember. Permission Granted. Fade was featured on Permission Granted on King Promise album. And when I heard Fade's lyrics on King Promise album, I thought this thing. Female Afrobeat artists are way, whatever I just said as way, multiply that by 100 minutes. Female Afrobeat artists are way better at writing lyrics than male Afrobeat artists. Female Afrobeat artists have mastered the art of lyricism. They've, and it's not even that, it's not that they're even writing miracle, lyrical, Kendrick Lamar type lyrics. They are just simple words they are using, but the way they use the words communicates intelligence. So when Fade says something like, agriculture don't mean nothing to me, I just want to harvest your loving. It's a simple lyrics, but if you are listening to it, you're like, a human being wrote this. Somebody sat down, thought, and wrote this. Remember those days when we were kids, our parents, our mothers specifically used to say, when you are doing a chore and you are not doing well, they'll be like, do your work like a human being did this work. Act like you're a human being. This like you're a human being. You know, it makes me wonder if our mothers foresaw AI coming, because a lot of male Afrobeat artists sound like they type into AI what is the most generic Afrobeat lyrics and then say it in their songs. But the female Afrobeat artists write like a human being sat down and thought about the lyricism. Terms, Fave, Amare, Mule, even Tiwa Savage. I said even Tiwa Savage because she's not one of the best lyricists, but she's okay. Tiwa Savage is better than most male Afrobeat lyricists. My point I'm trying to communicate is, what's the name? Dr. Kweji Agri said, if you educate a man, you educate a person. If you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. Dr. Kweji Agri was right, because these female Afrobeat artists look like they were educated. So they write like they are educated. These male Afrobeat artists sound like they don't go to school. And I know King Promise is educated because he went to Central University where I went to. So I know he's educated. He just needs to do better. That's all I'm saying. So lyrics, King Promise lyrics were on the album. I didn't really feel his lyrics, even though King Promise is not the best of lyricists, there were lines on his album that communicated that he has something. So it's not even, there was a line where he said, nothing they freak me. The only thing where they freak me be when my girl they tease me, right? And in Pidgin, the word freak means scared or frightened. And in English, the word freak means Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, if you know what I mean. So when he says, nothing they freak me except when my girl they tease me, what he's trying to say is he's not scared, and the only thing that moves him is when his girl is teasing him, right? So he played on the double meaning of the word freak, and I thought that was some intelligent literature writing. So which tells me that King Promise has the ability to do intelligent writing. He just chooses to be lazy, and that hurts. As a poet, somebody who loves lyricism, that hurts me. I'm heartbroken. Another thing I want to go in about the album is Charlie Poppy looks like he's used the word continental so much that he owns the word now. You know, there's always somebody who says a word so much that when you hear that word or that phrase, you think about him. So, for example, when you hear, yes, we can, who do you think about? Obama. If you hear, who do you think about? White Money or Davido? What I'm trying to say is, Charlie Poppy, when you hear the word continental, you think about Charlie Poppy. And it's so much so that King Promise have a song on this album called Continental, and it features Charlie Poppy. Because if you have a song called Continental, who are you going to call? The person who owns the word Continental. And I like that level of branding on his part. That shows that Shakespeare of our time, Charlie Poppy is going places. And what else? Yeah. One song on King Promise album I love is Own It, right? As a person who is 50% feminist and 50% reserve the right to weaponize patriarchy when it benefits me, I like when artists create feminist anthems for women, especially artists whose primary audience is women. So King Promise making a song like Own It is a big props to him. And he sort of ended the album with that song because the last song on this album is Terminator, which is a song which has been out for like a year before the album came out. So the song Own It is like the final song on the album. So he choosing to end the album with an anthem for women owning their power tells me that again, King Promise has the ability to be one of the greatest artists Ghana has ever produced. And I want King Promise to own that ability and use it. You know? I'm going to end here because I think I've reviewed the album by not reviewing the album. And usually when I review albums on this platform, I have 5 rankings. When I say it means bend the hard drive. If I say it means make music for your family. If I say juice, it means you have something. If I say nut, it means you have something and I love it. If I say juice and nut, it means I'll commit crime on your behalf. But I think the award-winning album by King Promise, True to Self, is Juice. King Promise has something. I just feel like he is underutilizing his ability. I'm saying this as somebody who loves King Promise. I saw King Promise for the first time in the studio in 2014. I was in the studio with Kewa. Sarkodie brought King Promise around. And he said, oh, this is an artist I'm looking to work with. Everybody in the studio asked whether he was a rapper. And Sarkodie said, nah, he's a singer. And I love working with singers. And 10 years later, King Promise is the biggest artist in Ghana. So I love King Promise, and also he's from my tribe. I'm a tribalist. That was a joke, but I'll explain it by saying this. There's nothing wrong with loving your tribe. What is wrong is hating other tribes. There's nothing wrong with loving somebody because they are from your tribe. What is wrong is hating somebody because they are not from your tribe. So I love King Promise because he's a guy. Gregory Bote Newman. I like his name because one of the guys on this Nenebi podcast, is not crack. What's his name? I don't remember his name, but he's actually my favorite on the podcast. I don't remember his name. This Nenebi podcast. I don't remember his name, but he always says something like, if your girlfriend calls King Promise by his government name Gregory, you know something I'll go on. That's a red flag. Have a good week. My next podcast, Do or Da, comes out every Wednesday on this platform. I'll hear from you all soon.